So this video reviews some of the geometry terminology that you would have learned last year. So just a quick review, acute angles are angles that are less than 90 degrees. Right angles are exactly 90 degrees, and often right angles will have a little box on them for you to be able to identify that they are right angles. Obtuse angles are angles that are between 90 and 180 degrees. Straight angles are exactly 180 degrees. Reflex angles are between 180 and 360. And be careful, you have to look at where the angle is pointing to, because if the angle was pointing in here, it would be acute. If it goes around that way, so if it goes in this direction, then it's called a reflex angle. Complementary angles are two or more angles that add up to equal 90 degrees. And then supplementary angles are two or more angles that add up to 180 degrees. And then opposite angles are special angles that are formed when two or more lines intersect. And so that means that this angle here, for example, and this angle here would be equal. And it means that this angle here and this angle here would be equal. And those are called opposite angles. Also, the purple dot and the red X, they would form supplementary angles, and they would add up to 180. Some more terminology about triangles. Remember that triangles are classified in two ways. They're classified by side length. So these three here are by side length. And then they're classified by, these three are classified by angles. And then triangles are also classified by side length. And these three are classified by side length. Whenever you're naming a triangle, you need to use two names. One name that's side length, one name that's angle. So acute triangles are angles where all three angles are acute. Right angled triangles are triangles in which there's one right angle and then two acute angles. And obtuse triangles are triangles in which there's one obtuse angle and two acute angles. You cannot have a triangle that has more than one right angle or more than one obtuse angle, because triangles add up to 180 degrees. And then by side length, scalene triangles have no equal sides, and then by definition, because they have no equal sides, they also have no equal angles. Isosceles triangles have two equal sides and two equal angles. So for example, in this isosceles triangle, the equal sides would be here and here. They're often noted with a little dash. And if those are the equal sides, then the neat thing is that means this angle here and this angle here are equal. And then equilateral triangles have three equal sides, so they're usually like that. And then all the angles in an equilateral triangle are 60 degrees, because the angles in a triangle add up to 180, and there are three of them, so each one must be 60. Another word for equilateral, you'll see sometimes, is called equiangular. So instead of calling it equilateral and acute, some people call it equilateral and equiangular, meaning equal side or equal angles. Let's look at a few examples then. So you have to find the complementary angle to the following. Remember, complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So if one angle is 35, its complement would be 55 degrees. If one angle is 72, its complement would be 18 degrees. And if one angle is 44, its complement would be 46 degrees. Supplementary angles, that means they add to 180. So if one angle is 35, to find its supplement, you do 180 minus 35, and you get 145 degrees. If one angle is 72, its supplement would be 108 degrees. And finally, if the angle is 44 degrees, its supplement would be 136 degrees. So all of these ones add up to 180, and all of these ones add up to 90. Some more examples. Classify the angle. So this is less than 90, so it's called an acute angle. This is exactly equal to 180. It's called a straight angle. This one is more than 180 and less than 360. It is called a reflex angle. 143 is between 90 and 180, so it is called an obtuse angle. And exactly 90 is called a right angle. In classifying the triangles, remember we need two names. We need a name by side length and a name by angle. So this one is called an acute equilateral triangle, or you could call it an equiangular and equilateral triangle. This one is called a right-angled triangle and also isosceles because of the two dash marks, two sides are equal. This one has one obtuse angle, so it is called an obtuse. And then it has no equal sides, so it's called obtuse scalene triangle. And then we'll look at a few more examples. So these angles here are called opposite angles. So if this one's 34, then B must also be 34. Then the other thing to look for is that these two form a straight line. And that means they must be supplementary. And so 180 minus 34 is 146 degrees. So A must be 146 degrees. And because A and C are opposite, C is also 146 degrees. Down here, we're going to use the same principle. So B and 80 are opposite. Then we look for supplementary angles. So for example, A and 180, they form a straight line. So they are supplementary. 180 minus 80 is 100. And then these three are also supplementary. So 80 plus 40 is 120. So 180 minus 120 is 60 degrees. Another thing that you can do to check your answers for both of these is these angles here, so all four angles here and all five angles here form a circle. So that means when you add up all five angles or all four angles, it has to equal 360 degrees. So it's a way that you can check your answer if you want to.